This conference will now be recorded.
Is the screen visible to all of you? Please reply.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's start the class. Please close your mic. So by the end of the class, you will be able to learn about what is sensitivity, specificity, positive predictive value, negative predictive value. What is epidemiology? Types of epidemiological studies, difference between case control and cohort study, what is relative risk, types of errors, what are different type of variables, what is mean, mode, median and standard deviation. So by the end of the class you will learn about all of these things, and you will be clearly a statistician. You can solve any of the problem of statistics. So what is sensitivity? So sensitivity is a measure of how well a test can identify people who have a disease. It is also known as the true positive rate. So once again repeat that sensitivity is how well a test can identify people who have a disease. That is person who have a disease, that is the true positive rate. So how sensitivity is calculated? You have to make a 2 by 2 table. In every question, make a 2 by 2 table. This is the 2 by 2 table. On the left hand side, write the risk factor. What is the risk factor? Suppose they are lung cancer patients, so smoking is a risk factor. Right? Smoking present, smoking absent. Disease is lung cancer present, lung cancer absent. So this is how we will make a table. If the true positive is a person that has a disease and test is positive. If a person has lung cancer positive and smoking also is also present, then write A, that is true positive. If the person has not a lung cancer but the risk factor is present, that is smoking is present, then write B, that is false positive. If the person has disease present but risk factor is absent, then write C, that is false negative. And if the person has none of them, that is not lung cancer is also not there, smoking is also not present, then write D, that is true negative. So what is sensitivity? Sensitivity is upward downward, that is A upon A plus C, that is equals to true positive upon true positive plus false negative. So I hope that you have understood this sensitivity. Please reply. Please reply. Now this is the question. Question number 1. Sensitivity is defined as option A upon A plus B, option B, A upon A plus C, option C is D upon D plus B plus D, and option D is B upon B plus D. So please answer what is the correct answer. Please open your mic. Don't reply.
Ma'am, it's B A upon A plus C.
Yes, it's correct. The answer is B. So please make this 2 by 2 table. Write risk factor, disease present, disease absent. Write exposed, non-exposed. If the person has disease positive and exposed, then it is true positive, that is A. If the disease is not there but the person exposed, then it is false positive, that is B. If the disease is present but the person is non-exposed, then it is C, false negative. And if both of them is not there, that is risk factor is also not there, and disease is not there, then it is true negative. That is D. I hope that you have understood the question very well. All of you, please reply.
Yes, ma'am.
Now the next question. Please solve this question by your own and tell me the answer. A new test for Group B Streptococcus has been designed. 84 people are having the disease and test positive, while 6 people are not having the disease and test negative. So, which of the below is the sensitivity? Options are option A 0.86, option B 0.93, option C 0.95, option D 0.97, and option E 18.6. So solve the question and tell me the answer. Please reply. Please reply what is the answer.
0.95. 0.95.
Yes, so the correct answer is option C. So how do you solve the question? This is the test positive and test negative, disease positive and disease negative. So in the question it is written that 84 people are having the disease and test positive. So 84 will are true positive. While sorry 84 people are having the disease and test positive. So it is true positive. While the 6 people are not having disease and test negative. So 6 are false negative. They are having the disease but the test is negative. So it is A upon A plus C, that is true positive upon true positive plus false positive, and the answer will be 0.93. I hope the answer is clear to all of you.
Yes.
Now the next is specificity. Specificity is the ability of the test to correctly identify people without disease. So it is to identify people that is not having the disease. So it is false positive. So specificity is D upon B plus D. Again make a 2 by 2 table. Write risk factor, disease present, disease absent. Risk factor present, risk factor absent. If the person has risk factor positive and disease positive, then it is A, that is true positive. If the person has risk factor present but disease absent, then write B, that is false positive. If the person has risk factor is absent but disease is there, then write C, that is false negative. And if the risk factor is absent, disease absent, then write D, that is true negative. And how specificity is calculated, that is downwards upwards. So it is D upon B plus D, that is true negative upon false positive plus true negative. So the question is specificity defined as option A upon A plus C, option B D upon B plus D, option C C upon B plus D, and option D upon A plus B. Please open your mic and answer. Don't reply.
D
It's an
upon B plus G. B.
yes, it is B. So correct answer is B. Make a 2 by 2 table, that is risk factor, exposed, non-exposed, disease present, disease absent, true positive, the person has disease positive and exposure is also there. False positive, disease is absent but exposure is there. Option C, false negative, the disease is positive but not exposed to risk factor, and of true negative, option D, that is disease negative and non-exposed. So I hope that you have understood this question. Can we go further? Reply please.
Yes, ma'am.
So you please solve this question and tell me the answer. A new test for group B strep has been diagnosed. 40 are not having the disease but test negative, while 2 people are having the disease and test positive. Which of below is the specificity? Option A 0.86, option B 0.93, option C 0.95, option D 0.97, and option E is 18.6. So please solve and answer.
0.95. C option.
Yes, so the correct answer is 0.95. So how have you solved this question? Right, make a 2 by 2 table. Okay, everyone please take a pen and paper and make a 2 by 2 table please. Then write test positive, negative, disease positive and disease negative. In the question it is written that 40 are not having disease but test negative. So this is the false positive, and 84 people are having true positive, while 6 people are having disease positive test negative, and 2 people are having disease negative and test also negative. So it is 2 by d upon b plus d, 2 by 40 plus 2, that is equals to 0.95. In the exam, your calculator will be provided on the computer. There is a calculator that will be provided. Nothing of no calculator, camera, pen, pencil is will be are supposed to be taken by you. Everything will be provided in the exam. So don't take the calculator during at the exam time. I hope the question is clear. Can we move further?
Yes.
Now the next is positive predictive value. So what is positive predictive value? The probability. It is a probability. Please make a note that positive predictive value is a probability that a person with a positive test has a disease or condition. So positive predictive value is a probability, while sensitivity and specificity is true positive and false positive. And it is the probability. So these type of questions come in part 1 MRCOG exam. So positive predictive value is equal to A upon A plus C, that is true positive upon true positive plus false positive. Again make a 2 by 2 table. Write risk factor, disease positive and disease negative, risk factor, present and absent. If the disease is present, risk factor is present, write A, that is true positive. If the disease is absent, risk factor is present, write B, that is true positive. A is true positive, sorry. B is false positive. If the disease is present but risk factor is absent, write C, that is false negative. And if the disease is also not there, risk factor is also not there, then write D, that is true negative. And positive predictive value is horizontal, that is A upon A plus B. Sorry, it is not correct. It is A upon A plus B. I hope that the question is, I hope this is clear. Positive predictive value is clear to all.
Yes, ma'am.
So positive predictive value is defined as option A upon A plus B, option B upon D plus B, option C upon C plus D, and option D, A upon A plus C. So what will be the correct answer?
Option A upon A plus B.
Yes. So the correct answer is option A. So make a 2 by 2 table like I have told you, and horizontal. So it is A upon A plus B. Now the next question. I will read the question. You have to solve this question and answer. A new test for group B streptococcus has been designed. 84 people are having the disease and test positive, while 6 people are not having disease and test negative. While 40 people are not having disease but test positive, while 2 people are not having the disease and non-exposed. What is the positive predictive value? Option A 0.86, option B 0.93, option C 0.95, option D 0.97, and option E 18.6. So solve the question and answer. So yes, what will be the answer? Make a 2 by 2 table first. Then like risk factor, then disease positive, then disease negative, risk factor present, risk factor absent. So it is written that 84 people are having disease. So it is A, that is true positive. While 6 people are not having disease and test negative. So 6 people are not having disease and test negative. So it is true negative, that is D. While 40 people are not having disease but test positive. So it is B, that is false positive. While 2 people are not having disease and non-exposed. So this is how the question will be solved. So 84 will be true positive, 40 will be false positive, 6 will be false negative, and 2 will be true negative. So what will be the answer? Please answer. I have told you that it is 84 upon 84 plus 40. So it is 0.97. I hope the question is clear. Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
I hope the answer is clear to you.
Yes, ma'am.
So why you have not solved this question? Is there any doubt
Uh,
in this question?
no, ma'am. Actually, I solved it, but my answer was wrong. So that's why.
Okay, so have you understood now?
Yes, ma'am.
So next is the negative predictive value. So negative, what is negative predictive value? The probability that someone with a negative test doesn't have a disease or condition. So negative predictive value is negative test that doesn't have a disease or condition. So how do you define negative predictive value? Make a 2 by 2 table again. Write risk factor, present absent, disease present absent. Write A, true positive, disease is present, risk factor present. Write B, that is false positive, that is disease is absent but risk factor is present. Write C, that is false negative if disease is present but risk factor is absent. And write D if none of these, that is disease is also absent, risk factor is also not there. So negative predictive value is lower part horizontally, so it is C upon C plus D. Now the question is negative predictive value is defined as option A upon A plus B, option B C upon C plus D, option C A upon A plus C, and option D D upon B plus D. So the correct option will be, please reply. Please reply.
C upon C plus D.
Yes, so the correct option is option B. So the correct option is C upon C plus D. Make a 2 by 2 table like this and negative predictive value is C upon C plus D. That is, meaning is false negative upon false negative plus true negative. Now the question. I will read the question and you solve the answer. And please reply even if it is not correct, then we will solve it. A new test for group B streptococcus has been designed. 84 people 84 people are having the disease and test positive, while 6 people are not having disease and test negative, while 40 people are not having disease but test positive, while 2 people are not having disease and non-exposed. So what is the negative predictive value? Option A is 0.86, option B 0.93, option C 0.95, option D 0.97, option is 18.6. So the 2 by 2 table you have made, now just apply the formula and solve negative predictive value. Please close your mic and solve the question and answer. Please reply, Dr. Fatima. Please reply what is the correct answer.
Is it option A, 0.86?
Yes, the correct answer is option A, 0.86. So in this question it is there that 84 people are having disease and test positive, so they are true positive. While the 6 people are not having disease and test negative. So 6 people are not having disease and test negative. While 40 people are not having disease but test positive. So 40 will be false positive, 6 will be false negative, and 2 people are not having disease and the test is also negative. So answer is 6 upon 6 plus 2, that is equal to 0.86. So I hope the answer is clear. Can we move further?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone clear? Dr. Afroz, is the answer clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So the next is odds ratio. So what is odds ratio? Odds ratio is a measure of association between exposure and outcome. So make a 2 by 2 table. Again make a 2 by 2 table. Write risk factor, disease present, disease absent, write exposed present and unexposed. And make A, that is true positive, B false positive, C false negative, and do true negative, and make a crisscross. So it is the association between exposure and the outcome, that how many exposure have occurred, how many have disease. So it is AD upon BC. So odds ratio question number 9. Odds ratio is defined as option A AD upon BC, option B BC upon CD, option C CD upon DB, and option D AD upon DB. So answer, what is the correct option?
Option A, AD upon BC.
Yes. So make the 2 by 2 table like this and crisscross. So it is AD upon BC. That is false negative, that is true positive into false negative, and false positive into true negative. Now this is a very long question, but don't panic. It is a very simple question. A gynecology resident intends to determine the association between intrauterine device use and risk of extrauterine pregnancy. The investigator recruited 100 cases of extrauterine pregnancy and 200 participants who had intrauterine pregnancy as control from the obstetric ward of a tertiary care hospital. Over a period of 2 years, both cases and control were interviewed about the history of IUCD. Among the cases, 6 participants had history of ICDU and among control, 4 had history of ICDU. Calculate the odds ratio of extrauterine pregnancies among women with history of ICDU. So options are option A 0.32, option B 1.39, option C 3.12 and option D 0.72. Now solve the question. So what will be the answer? Please reply. So make a 2 by 2 table. Write the risk factor, that is IUD present and IUD absent. Then write extrauterine pregnancy and intrauterine pregnancy. So in this question it is written that there are 100 cases of IUCDU. So total are 100 patients and 200 participants had intrauterine pregnancy. It is written that 6 participants, that 6 are the cases and 4 had history of IUCDU. So 100 minus 6 will be, please reply. So it will be 96 and 200 minus 4 is 196. So it is AD upon BC. Make a crisscross like this, AD upon BC. So it is 6 into 196 upon 4 into 94, that is equal to 3.12. Am I clear now? Please reply. Hello? Please reply, Dr. Fatima. Am I clear to you?
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Why you are not replying the answer? Is there any problem in this question? Is the explanation clear? Is the explanation clear, Dr. Fatima? Are there any doubt to you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Next question, if the odds of exposure among cases is lower than the odds of exposure among the control, the odds ratio will be option A more than 1, option B less than 1, option C depends on other factors, and option D none of the above. So what will be the answer? Please reply.
Option B, less than 1.
Okay, so have you learned before it, or you have seen the answer? So there are three things. If the odds ratio is more than 1, that means odds of exposure is more than the if the odds ratio is less than 1, that means exposure is less than the unexposed. If the odds ratio is more than 1, that means exposure is higher than unexposed. And if the odds ratio equal to 1, that means exposure is same as that of unexposed. So I hope the answer is clear to you now. In this question it is written, if the odds of exposure among cases is lower, so what will be the odds ratio? Less than 1. So the correct answer is option B. I hope that now it is understood to every one of you. Please reply. Okay. So the next is incidence. So what is incidence? Incidence reflect the number of new cases of a given medical condition in a population within a specified period of time. So it is a number of new cases. How many new cases have occurred of that disease is the incidence upon total population. So the formula will be number of new cases at specified time interval upon total population at risk during that time interval. So the formula of incidence, it is very important for part 1 MRCUG as well as part 2 MRCUG. So the question is, during a 1 year follow-up, a psychiatrist determined the burden of suicidal ideation among 100 patients with drug addiction. 7 patients had previous history of suicidal ideation and 20 patients developed it for the first time. What is the incidence of suicidal ideation in this study population? Option A is 7% per year, option B 20% per year, option C is 21.5% per year, and option D is 27% per year. So what will be the answer? Please solve the question and answer. Please reply, don't please answer. Please speak, don't reply on the message.
I think it's 2% per year.
2% per
Option
year is
D.
not the option. It is 27%. There is no option of 2% per year. So how we will solve this question? As we have already, I have already told you that incidence is the number of new cases at that time interval upon total population. So in this it is written that 20 patients develop it for first time. So new cases are 20 and total patients are 100. But in this it is written that 7 patients had previous history. That is, they are not drug addicts now. So we will minus 100 minus 7 is equals to, it is 96. So 20 by 96. So what will be the answer? Now solve. Simple maths is there. It is 93. So 93 people are total population. So what will be the answer? Please reply now. It is 21.5% per year. So the correct answer is answer C. Is the answer clear to you? Please reply.
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
So why are you not replying? Have you not understood the answer? First you solve, then you answer the question. If it is also wrong, then also reply. Then we will try to solve. Now the next is prevalence. So what is prevalence? Prevalence is the number of people in a population who have disease at specific time interval. So it is the number of people in a population who have disease, that is, who are having disease at specific time interval is prevalence. So what is formula of prevalence? Prevalence is equal to C upon N, where C is equal to number of observed cases at time t and N is equal to total population at time t. So I will read the question, you solve the answer and then reply. In a rural block with 1 lakh population, 250 residents were identified with cardiovascular disease. Calculate the prevalence of cardiovascular disease per thousand population. Option A is 0.2, option B 0.5, option C 2.5 and option D 25. Now first solve the question, apply the formula and then tell me the answer. What is the answer?
Option C 2.5.
Yes. So as I have told you that prevalence is equal to number of new cases at that time, number of cases at that particular time and upon total population. So number of cases are 250 upon 1 lakh, that is equal to 0.0025 into 1000. So this is how the formula, apply the formula. 250, that is C, and it's 1 lakh. 250 divided by 1 lakh is equal to 0.0025, and prevalence of cardiovascular disease per thousand population is asked, so it multiply by 1000, so it is equal to 2.5. I hope the answer is clear to you. Please reply.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Everyone
ma'am.
is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any doubt to any one of you?
No, ma'am.
Now next question. Among 25,000 population in a city, 105 residents were identified with hepatitis B infection. Calculate the prevalence of hepatitis B per thousand population. Now solve the question and answer.
Option B 4.2.
Yes, so how have you solved the
Option B 4.2.
how have you solved? So apply the formula P is equal to C by N. C is equal to number of observed cases at time t, that is 105, and total population 25,000. So it is 105 upon 25,000 is equal to 0.0042, and it is written prevalence of hepatitis B per thousand population. So it is 0.0042 into 1000, that is 4.2. I hope the answer is clear to all of you.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Now, next is case fatality ratio. So, case fatality ratio in epidemiology is the proportion of people who die from a specified disease among all individuals diagnosed with the disease over a certain period of time. So, it is the proportion of people who die from a specified disease. Suppose, for example, suppose there is an outbreak of cholera, and suppose in 10,000 population, 80 people have cholera. So it is case fatality ratio is number of cases upon total number of deaths. 80 people have cholera and 72 people have died. So number of cases are 80 and total number of deaths are 72. Sorry, the it is wrong. It is total number of deaths upon number of cases. It's my mistake. Its total number of deaths are numerator and number of cases are the denominator. So the total number of deaths are 72 and number of cases are 80. So the answer will be divide and then answer. So this is the question. In a food poisoning outbreak, 75 people were affected. Among them, 50 were hospitalized and 2 died. Calculate the case fatality ratio. Option A is 1.2%, option B is 2.7%, option C is 4%, option D is 8%. So
Option B 2.7%.
how you have solved the question, please reply.
Ma'am, 2 divided by 75 into 100.
Yes, so it is 2 divided by 75 into 100. Yes. So it is number of death upon number of cases, number of deaths is 2 and number of cases are 75. So 2 by 75 into 100 is equal to 2.7%. Good. Dr. Afroz, it is clear to you also?
Yes, ma'am.
So now the next is epidemiological study. This is very important question. In part 1 MRCOG also and part 2 MRCOG also. So there are two type of epidemiological study. First is descriptive and another one is analytical. In descriptive study, there are four type of study. First is the case report. Second is the case series. Third is the cross-sectional and fourth is the ecological study. So in descriptive, there are four type of study: case report, case series, cross-sectional and ecological study. In analytical study, there are two type of study. One is observational study and another one is interventional study. In observational study, there are four type of study. First is the cross-sectional study, second is the ecological study, third is the case control study, and fourth is the cohort study. So the last two studies, cohort and case control, is very important. Question asked from this two studies, case control and cohort study. In ecological study, you have to remember only one thing, that population is the unit of study in ecological. Population is the unit of study in ecological. So this is also the question. In interventional study, there are two types. First is the quasi-experimental study and trial study. So before any drug that is available that we are taking nowadays, before any of the pharmacist companies producing a new drug, then this drug has to undergo a clinical trial that is known as randomized control trial, in which the drug has to undergo from four phases, that is phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 and phase 4. Phase 1 is the drug has come that is the drug has come to the market and what is its advantage come in phase 1. Phase 2 is the side effect, that what are the adverse effects. Phase 3 is the marketing, that how this drug is very marketing, it means that how this drug is acting in the market, that it is a very good drug and many of the people are purchasing this drug, and also doctor are prescribing this drug to all of the patients. Phase 4 is post marketing surveillance. So remember that clinical trial question also come, or learn all the phases, and the RCT is the randomized control trial. So I hope this table is clear to you. Please reply.
Yes, ma'am.
Now the difference between case control study versus cohort study. This is a very important slide and you have to remember each and every line of this slide. Then case control study. A case control study is an observational study that compared two group of people, those with the disease under study and a very similar group of people who do not have the disease. So case control study is also known as retrospective study, that is the backward looking study. That it starts from the outcome and exposure, that both the exposure and outcome had occurred, and now the person is trying from the outcome, that how many people are having the disease and what is the risk factor. So it is the backward looking study. While the cohort study is also known as prospective and retrospective study, it is also known as forward study. So cohort study starts from the exposure and it goes to the outcome. It can be prospective also or it can be retrospective also, that it can start from outcome to exposure also. So a cohort study is a type of longitudinal study that observes the causes of disease and investigate the relationship between risk factor and health outcome. So it can be either prospective or retrospective. It proceeds from effect of a disease to its cause. That is, I have already told you that is a backward study. while the cohort study proceeds from the cause of a disease to its effect. It does not require a last sample, it requires a last sample. It does not take a long time. Remember that it is a short acting study, while the cohort study takes a long time. And this is very important that case control study is for the rare diseases that are very rare in the that is cholera, typhoid, while the cohort study is for researching rare conditions or diseases like the long-acting disease like cholera, all these diseases that are now present hypertension. Cohort studies used. I hope this table is clear to you. Please reply.
Yes, ma'am.
Now the question is a pediatrician recruited 120 children with Crohn's disease and their matched sibling control. The researcher collected history of exclusive breastfeeding from the mother. Presence and absence of exclusive breastfeeding was compared between the disease and the non-disease children. Identify the study design in this research. So option A is case series, option B is cross-sectional study, option C is case control study, and option D is cohort study.
Option
So
C,
what is
case control study.
yes.
Case control.
Yes, so it is
Case
a
control study.
control study because the outcome and exposure have already occurred, and the person is starting from outcome to the exposure. So, case control study is also known as retrospective study. Case control study starts from outcome to exposure, and it is used for study of a rare disease. Next question. A study was conducted to determine the association between coronary artery disease and age-related macular degeneration in people ages 60 years or more. The investigator included 150 participants with age-related macular degeneration and 150 participants without age-related macular degeneration. The participants were interviewed for major risk factors for the disease. Among participants with age-related macular degeneration, 25 had history of coronary artery disease, while among those without age-related macular degeneration, only 10 had history of coronary artery disease. Identify the study design in this case. So options are option A cross-sectional study, option B case control study, option C prospective cohort study, and option D experimental study. So will be the answer?
Case control study.
Yes. So the exposure and outcome has occurred. So what is the outcome? What is the outcome in what is the disease? So the coronary artery disease is the outcome and exposure is ARMD, age-related macular degeneration. So it is a backward-looking study. So it is a case control study. Next question. The entire population of a given community is screened and all those judged as being free of colon cancer are questioned extensively about their diet. These people are then followed up for several years to see whether their eating habit will predict the risk of developing colon cancer. So this is an example of which type of study. Option A case control study, option B clinical trial, option C cross-sectional study, and option D cohort study. In this question, there is a hint.
Cohort study.
Yes. So, what is the hint? Can you tell me have you solved this question?
Prospective
Ma'am, we
cohort
are
study.
Several year. Long term study.
It is written a follow-up study, so it is a very long study. So, it is a cohort study. Remember. So, cohort study is also known as follow-up study. Cohort study is known as prospective study. It starts from risk factor to disease to determine incidence. Cohort study is used and cohort study is used for study of rare diseases. Now, next question. When a group of people with defined characteristics are followed up to determine incidence, then it is known as which type of study?
Cohort.
Yes, it is a cohort study. So, correct answer is option B. Next question. A multi-scientific study was conducted to determine the association to yes, Dr. Charu, we can get you can get a recording of the class after the class is over. So the next question is, a multicentric study was conducted to determine the association between diabetes and cataract. The investigator recruited 1,000 diabetics and 2,500 non-diabetics. The participants were examined to exclude the presence of cataract at the time of recruitment. They were followed once yearly for 10 years to document the development of cataract. The study then found that the incidence of cataract among diabetes was more when compared with the non-diabetics. Identify the study design in this study. So what type of study design is this? Option A, cross-sectional study. Option B, case control study. Option C, prospective cohort study. And option D, experimental study.
Option C, prospective cohort study.
So have you been know the difference of prospective and retrospective? Can anybody tell what is the difference?
Prospective is forward-looking study and retrospective is backward.
So how will you if in this there is only written
They
prospective,
follow.
but if in the option it is retrospective, then how will you confirm that it is a prospective or retrospective?
Uh, they followed once yearly for 10 years to document the development of cataract.
So yes, so it is the hint. To development of cataract, they were follow up for a long time. So it is a prospective, so forward looking study. Now the next question. Using medical record from a tertiary care cancer hospital, a researcher collected data on occupational exposure and lung carcinoma on patients admitted between 2000 and 2010. He classified the patient who had history of working in coal mine as exposed and other as unexposed. He then compared the frequency. Now, please be cautioned. The frequency of lung carcinoma among the exposed and the unexposed. What best describe the study design? Option are option A, case control study. Option B, retrospective cohort study. Option C, cross-sectional study. And option D, analytical cross-sectional study. So what type of study is this?
Case control study.
No, no, it is not a case control study.
Retrospective cohort study.
There are two options, retrospective and analytical. So what is this? It is a retrospective cohort study. Yes, option B is correct. In this, there is a hint that the frequency of lung carcinoma has been frequency of lung carcinoma is compared among exposed and unexposed. So it is a retrospective cohort study. I hope the answer is clear to all of you. Please reply.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now the next is relative risk. So what is relative risk? Relative risk is a ratio of the probability of an event occurring in the exposed group versus the probability of the event occurring in the non-exposed group. So relative risk is incidence in exposed upon incidence in unexposed. So it is A upon, make a 2 by 2 table again. Right risk factor, present, absent, disease present, absent. Right A, if the disease is positive and risk factor is positive, that is true positive. Disease absent but risk factor then B. This disease present but risk factor absent C. And disease absent but risk factor is also absent and D. So it is A upon incidence in exposed is A upon A plus B. And incidence in unexposed is C upon C plus D. So solve this question. A prospective cohort study was conducted to determine the association between coffee consumption and risk of pancreatitis among 10,000 healthy participants. Among the participants, 3,500 participants consumed coffee, where 6,500 participants did not. After a follow-up of 10 years, 85 participants in the coffee consumption group developed pancreatitis, whereas among the non-coffee consumption group, 113 developed pancreatitis. Calculate the relative risk of pancreatitis due to coffee consumption. So option are option A 0.04, option B 0.85, option C 1.21, and option D 1.50. So solve the question and answer.
Option C 1.21.
No. Yes, it's correct. It is 1.21. So how have you solved the question? Make a 2 by 2 table like this. So this factor that exposes coffee present and non-exposes coffee absent. Disease is pancreatitis. So in the question it is there that 85 participants in the coffee consumption group develop pancreatitis. So 85 will come under A. And it is also there that 3,500 among the participants, 3,500 participants consume coffee. So 3,500 are total and disease is 85. So 3,500 minus 85 will be 3,415. While in the non-coffee consumption group, it is written that 130 develop pancreatitis. So 130 are the non-exposed and disease is there. And total are there that 6,500 participants did not consume coffee. So 6,500 minus 130 is 6,370. So it is A upon A plus B divided by C upon C plus D. So put the values here and solve the question. Calculator will be provided to you. So it is 1.2. I hope the answer is clear to every one of you. Please reply.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Afroz, it is clear to you also.
Yes, ma'am.
Now the next question. In a cohort study, 29 out of 153 individuals who received COVID-19 vaccine and 217 out of 1880 individuals who did not get COVID-19 vaccine developed severe COVID-19. The suitable measure of association in the above study is dash. Relative risk of 0.16, odds ratio of 0.14, prevalence ratio of 0.14, and relative risk of 0.1. So first, now tell me which of the things we will calculate. Is the relative risk calculated or odds ratio calculated?
Relative risk.
Yeah, and now solve the question and answer.
Relative risk of 0.16.
Yes, how do you have solved the question? So make a 2 by 2 table like this. Risk factor, that is vaccinated and unvaccinated people, COVID present and COVID-19 negative. So in the question it is written that 29 out of 153 individuals have received COVID-19 vaccine. So 29 are having vaccinated but they are COVID positive. While the 1530 is the total population. So 1530 minus 29 will be 1501. So 1501 patients are that are having COVID-19 absent but they are vaccinated. And 217 out of 1880 individuals who do not get COVID-19 vaccine. So it is 217 people. And total are the 1880 individual. So solve this A upon A plus B upon C plus D and now put the values and the answer will come 0.16. I hope the answer is clear to every one of you. Is the answer clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any doubt to any one of you? Please reply. Can we move further? Please reply.
Yes, ma'am.
Now the next question is relative risk of one in study indicate. Option A, incidence in unexposed is higher than exposed. Option B, incidence in exposed is higher than unexposed. Option C, relative risk is significant. And option D, incidence in the exposed and unexposed group are same. So what will be the answer? Answer please.
Option D.
Yes, so incidence in the exposed and unexposed group are same. Good. Is the next screen visible to you?
No, ma'am.
So is the relative risk. So it is if the relative risk is equal to 1, that indicate that incidence in exposed and unexposed is same. If the relative risk is more than 1, that indicate that incidence in exposed is higher than unexposed. And if the relative risk is less than 1, that indicate incidence in exposed is less than unexposed. I hope the answer is clear to you now. Please reply.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Now the next are the type of variable. So this is also very important. Question are asked from this also. So there are two type of variable. First is the qualitative variable and next is the quantitative variable. So and third is the dependent variable. Fourth is the independent variable. So in qualitative variable there are two types. First is the nominal variable and another one is ordinal variable. In nominal variable, for example, sex like male, female, marital status. In ordinal variable, there will be comparison like the person is in which stage of cancer or if the person is hypertensive, in which category the person falls, then that comes in ordinal variable. In quantitative, that is the interval. Suppose the fever is of suppose the fever is of how much degrees, that comes in interval variable. And the ratio comes in pulse rate and vital capacity. While in the dependent variable diseases come, that is gastric ulcer, carcinoma, peptic ulcer, all these are come. And independent the drug will come like cimetidine versus placebo. Comparison of drug will be there. Okay, so I hope this table is very clear to you. Next question. In a study on hypertension, patients are categorized based on their systolic blood pressure as normal, pre-hypertension, stage 1 hypertension, and stage 2 hypertension. What type of variable is this? Option A is qualitative, option B is descriptive, option C is nominal, and option D is ordinal. So answer.
Ordinal,
Yes.
ordinal option D.
Yes, so in this we are judging based on the systolic blood pressure in which category the person falls. So I have told that it is an ordinal variable. Now next question. In a study, researchers are interested in measuring the cholesterol level of participants. So cholesterol level is the dash variable. Ordinal variable, nominal variable, continuous variable or discrete variable. So what type of variable is cholesterol level?
Continuous.
Yes, it is a continuous variable. Now the next is the mean. So what is mean? The average of sum of all the observation divided by total number of observation is mean. So the formula of mean is you have to take the sum of all the observation upon total number of observations. Suppose there is number of observation like 1, 3, 5, 8, 10, 12. So you have to add all this number 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 8 plus 10 plus 12 and you have divided by total number. So you count the how many number are there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 number are there. So solve the answer and the mean will come to you. So the question is in the following set of data what is the mean? Observation are 4, 1, 9, 7, 3, 8, 2, 6. Now solve. The question options available are option A 5, option B 4.5, option C 9, and option D 8.
Option A 5.
Yes. So this is how the apply the formula, that is sum of all the observation upon total number of observations. So it add all the numbers and divided by total number of observations. So that 8 observations. So answer will be 5. Is the answer clear to every one of you? Please reply.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Afroz, it is clear to you also?
Yes, ma'am.
Next question. Solve the answer and answer. The age of 10 pregnant women who visited an ANC clinic is given. What is the mean age of this group? 26, 31, 25, 26, 30, 27, 25, 32, 25, and 33 years. Solve and answer. Options are option A 45, option B 28, option C 25, and option D 32. Answer please.
Option B 28.
Yes, so the correct option is 28. So mean is equal to sum of all the observation upon total number of observations. So it is add all the numbers upon total number of observation 10. So it is 28. Now next is the mode. Sorry, it is written. It is the median. So median is equals to. So sorry. So median is the middle value of the observation. So if the suppose there is a number of observation 1, 3, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Suppose then arrange this in the ascending order. Then then count how many numbers are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If the total number are even, then take average of both the two. So it is 8 and 10 are the middle value. So take average, that is 8 plus 10 is equal to 18, and then divide by 2. So the median will be 9. I hope median is clear to you. The question is, the following score were obtained by 10 medical students in a quiz. 5, 3, 6, 8, 7, 8, 3, 11, 6, 3. What is the median score of this group? Option A 3, option B 6, option C 8, and option D 10. Solve the question and answer. Answer please. Answer. So first we will arrange all the numbers in ascending order. Then we will count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it is an even number observation. So middle value, that is 6 and plus 6. 6 plus 6 divided by 12, it is 6. 12 by 2 is equal to 6. So the median will be 6. I hope the answer is clear to you. Please reply. But if the numbers are odd, suppose if they are 11 number, then the middle value will be answer, that is 6. Are there any one of you away? Hello, please reply.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Next question. In the NCD clinic of a primary health center, fasting blood sugar in gram per deciliter of 11 patients was measured. The following values were obtained: 85, 93, 104, 108, 105, 120, 129, 202, 160, 400, 410. What is the most appropriate measure of center tendency for this data? Mean is equal to 120, median is equal to 120, mean is equal to 174.5, and mean is equal to 164.0. Please answer fast.
Median 120.
Yes, so arrange in the ascending order. Count the number, how many observation there: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it is odd number, so middle value will be taken. So it is 120. Mode is equal to maximum number of times the number has occurred. Maximum value is the mode. So, question: in a study, a researcher was interested in measuring the hemoglobin level of 10 participants. The values are 10, 8.5, 12, 14, 11.5, 13.5, 9, 12, 11.3, 7.5. So, what is the mode of this distribution? Option A 7.5, option B 12, option C 10.9, and option D 14. So what will be the answer? Answer fast.
14.
Yes, please reply. Not clear.
14.
Your your sound is not clear.
It's 14
No,
maximum.
it's not 14. Hmm.
B, option B, 12.
Yes, so maximum number of times. So 12 has occurred 2 times. So mean is equal to maximum number of values. So it is mode. Sorry, mode is maximum number of times. So it is 12. In a study, a researcher was interested in measuring the hemoglobin level of 10 participants. The values are 10, 8.5, 12, 14, 11.5, 13.5, 9, 7.5, 11.3, and 7.5. What is the mode of this distribution? So,
Option A, 7.5.
yes. Now the next is standard deviation. So what is standard deviation? Standard deviation is the square root of average of observation divided by arithmetic mean. So standard deviation is equal to under root of, that is the average of observation square root upon arithmetic mean. Now the question is, all of the following are true for standard deviation except: it is the square root of average of square deviation of the observation from the arithmetic mean. It is the most important measure of dispersion. It is expressed in the same unit of measurement as the observation. The square of the standard deviation is called mean deviation. So which of the following is false? Answer fast.
Option D, square of the standard deviation is called mean deviation.
So what is true? The square of standard deviation is called variance. So standard deviation is the square root of average of observation divided by arithmetic mean. Now the coefficient of variance. The coefficient of variance is defined as the ratio of standard deviation to the mean. So coefficient of variance is equal to standard deviation upon arithmetic mean. So the question is, if the mean is 25 and standard deviation is 5, then coefficient of variance is option A 100%, option B 25%, option C 20%, option D none of these. Answer fast.
Option C, 20%.
Yes, so it is 20%. The formula is standard deviation upon arithmetic mean into 100, so it is 20%. Mean deviation. The mean deviation is defined as a statistical measure that is used to calculate the average deviation from the mean value of the given data set. So what is mean deviation? It is the average of absolute deviation upon arithmetic mean. So the question is, the average of the absolute deviation of the observation from the arithmetic mean is known as option A variance, option B interquartile range, option C mean deviation, option D standard deviation.
Option
Answer.
C, mean deviation.
And what is the formula of standard deviation? What is standard deviation? I have told you. Please answer. Standard deviation is the under root of average of the deviation, square root of the deviation upon the arithmetic mean. Now the variance. Variance is a statistical measurement of the spread between numbers in a data set. It measures how far each number in the set is from the mean and thus from every other number in the set. So variance is often depicted by this symbol, that is the theta square. So variance is equal to, you can simply remember, standard deviation whole square. So question, if the standard deviation is 10, then what will be the variance? Option A 50, option B 85, option C 100, option D 80. So what
Option
is
C,
the,
100.
yes, so it is 10 whole square, so it is 100. Now type 1 error. What is the difference between a type 1 error and type 2 error? So a type 1 error is a statistical error that occurs when a true null hypothesis is incorrectly rejected. That is the drug that has come to the market is beneficial for the people, but it has been rejected by the by the trial person. So it is also known as a false positive, and it is also called alpha error. Suppose the drug that has come to the market is PCM, and PCM is beneficial for the people, but the drug trial people have rejected this drug, so it is the type 1 error. The drug is beneficial, but it has been rejected by the trialist. So a type 1 error occurs when the null hypothesis is rejected when it is false. Option B, the null hypothesis is not rejected when it is false. Option C, the null hypothesis is not rejected when it is true. Option D, the null hypothesis is rejected when it is true. So what is the answer?
Option D.
Option D.
Yes, so a type 1 error is also known as alpha error. A type 2 error. Now, type 2 error is also known as false negative. It's a statistical error that occurs when a false null hypothesis is accepted. Suppose the drug that come to the market has an opioid, and it is not beneficial to the people, but the drug trialist has given the certificate of marketing. So it is not beneficial for the people, but the drug trial has accepted. So it is a type 2 error. So which of the following is true? And type 2 error is also known as beta error. So which of the following is true about beta error? Option A, it is the probability of correctly rejecting the null hypothesis when it is false. It is the probability of accepting the null hypothesis when it is false. Option C, it is the probability of rejecting the null hypothesis when it is true. And option D, it is the probability of making a type 1 error. So what will be the correct?
Option B.
Yeah, so what is the answer? Please reply.
B option.
It is the probability of accepting the null hypothesis when it is false. So this is the last question of today's class. I hope you like the session, and the success formula is only hard work. So practice questions, solve MCQs every time. Participate in the part 1 MRCUG recall group, and if you are willing to uh, give your part 1 MRCUG as well as part 2 MRCUG, then join the Beat MRCUG by Dr. Yasmin Sayyed. In this, all the material will be provided, live session will be there, recording will be provided, exam like mock series will be there, and complete course will be provided. So please join the group by Dr. Yasmin Sayyed. You can contact on this number. It is an Indian number, 8949140861, and you can also reply on the mail, that is beatmrcoj@gmail.com. So please, Dr. Fatima and whoever joined the class today, Dr. Charu, please join the group fast. So okay, thank you. This is the end of the class.